Hi, I'm Adam Kunzmiller with BGG TV at Gen Con 2015, and I'm joined by Julie Ahern with Greenbrier Games, and we're here to talk about Heavy Steam, what appears to be a heavy mech combat game, so I'm excited.
You are correct. So, the premise of the game is that steampunk alternative universe where technology is advanced differently. So we're in a World War I early situation, more in Victorian times. So you have these advanced steam titans that are duking it out on the battlefield in that very Napoleonic proud stand, present yourself on the battlefield with dignity and honor and bash away at the other guy kind of a thing. And in order to do it, you have your board, so you're doing resource management and you're moving your steam. You start, don't you want to slide the whole leg?
Oh, sure.
Just like that, just so we can. So you start with the steam in the core.
Even more. All right.
In the core of your mech, and as your turns rotate, you go through and you try to move it out to the extremities. To move it to the legs, then you'd be able to move it to your weapons, to fire them. But every time you do move them and do any of those things, you add it to your boiler pressure.
Okay.
Which means if you do too much all at once, you can blow yourself up.
Nice.
And really you want to blow up your opponent. Somebody's getting blown up, but hopefully you're not blowing up yourself. So you're spending a lot of time doing some resource management. Once it goes into boiler pressure, it moves back into your power reserve, from your power reserve back into your core and back out.
To distribute back to your various components.
Exactly. So some of the things you can do is you can use it to move. And if you're moving your Titan. Mm-hmm. Proximity means you're going to be closer in range or further in range to fire your weapons. If you're firing your weapons, you're going to roll depending on your range, and your weapons tell you, based on distance and what type of weapon, how many red dice you're going to roll. If you roll your red dice, your opponent is rolling blue for defense, and that's on their boiler pressure. How much pressure you have, how much buildup, determines how many blue dice you can roll. And then
so
once
pressure
you roll,
is a good thing in some ways.
No, you get fewer and fewer dice.
Okay, so the more pressure, the less dice you have.
Right, it's a good thing in the sense that sometimes you're going to overtax yourself to fire that one extra weapon because you think you're going to be able to make that extra
But you're
hit.
not rewarded for constantly running on the edge of blowing up.
No, and think of it as this is new technology. It's not a perfect system. They're rattling and creaking and wheezing as they march along the pastoral countryside.
There's a bit of
France.
Victorian jankiness involved.
Exactly. And once you roll, it's a one-off. So this is one block, this is two hit. That means a hit got through and that weapon has made a hit on, now it's not a precision instrument.
Sure.
So then you would roll, and the number you get, so there's a 7. You would look at your chart, and a 7 is the torso. So that would be a hit to the torso. Since you hit me, I would get to remove this unless it's a critical hit, which as you can see, it's too small, so that blocked. That was a critical hit. You get to determine where some of that steam in my torso went out, which you are going to look more at the central mass than the shields.
So I can disable things that you have maybe
much more quickly
managed to try and queue up, that kind of stuff. Cool.
If you put steam in the head, you can use it to purchase intel. Intel can be about terrain. It can be to help your resources move along more quickly. My personal favorite is the battle low, because it is everybody stops, combat jumps through, we get to replenish our supplies, and there's a butler with a snifter, of brandy, so we can all get out of our steam titans and sit there, maybe with a picnic table.
Enjoy the beautiful countryside.
Exactly, discuss politics, the current state of affairs, and then climb back in and start bashing away at each other again.
And how long does a typical game last?
The game is 30 to 90 minutes, depending on 2 to 4 players. Mm-hmm. So for 2 players, you're going to want to play. So I have a heavy Titan out and a light Titan. You'd actually want to pair up a light with a light, a heavy against a heavy, or 2 lights against 1 heavy.
Oh, okay.
So that it balances out.
Gotcha. And so the 2 lights against 1 heavy is how you do like a 3-player game?
Correct. And then of course you'd pick your pilot. Your pilots have different abilities. I'm going to put Scott up here because I'm the writer and Scott is the designer, and I just want Scott to actually be present. So you just pick your pilot. You can also pick which weapons you want. Mm-hmm. And depending on your weapon, you can actually take the miniatures
Yeah, they're
and
articulated.
they
Oh, you
are.
can actually remove
You can
things.
remove them and replace them with the correct weapon.
Oh, very cute.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, there are miniatures also for infantrymen and mobile cannons. So you can use them as well to attack each other.
Awesome. And is this available now? Is it in wide
Absolutely,
distribution?
it is.
Okay, great. Well, that was Heavy Steam with Greenbrier Games.
Thank you.